Hi, my name is Willie, the BBQ Coach, and today we're going to go over these split bar counters. A split bar counter, or often referred to as a raised bar counter, is where you have a frame that comes up behind your island and out with an overhang, so that way you can have bar stools and your guests can sit at a nice bar counter here. Now, there's a couple tips on doing this. For one, when you're designing this, you don't want to have really split bars behind your grill because the heat's coming up and that's not good for your guests. So usually we always design islands where the split bar counter is more in like the serving zone behind the ice chest, the refrigerator, or that wing. And then maybe on the grill side, side burner side, we'll usually put a backsplash or just leave it open like this. So anyway, for today's example, we're going to show how we can use the BBQ Coach welded split bar counter kits. They come in 4-foot lengths. Now this is really an amazing improvement because when I used to, many years ago, when I would build the split bars out of track and studs, it was a pain in the ass because you had to build your back wall, and then you had to put in a track where you put in your 12-inch studs and cap it off, and then you had to try to level each one and use these $12 flat 12 by 12 Simpson strong ties to support it. And you had to put those on every single overhang to make it strong enough to hold up the weight. And it took a lot of time and it was just a pain. So this new invention of these welded cantilevers makes this so much easier than track and studs. It's welded, so now you don't need those $12 flat LLs supports, so you're saving money on that. You're saving time and hassle. There's no better way than this BBQ Coach split bar counter kits to make a nice raised bar counter. And another thing about this is a standard height module, approximately 35-inch high frame. So that way our cantilevers are high enough to give you a 6-inch backsplash and the perfect height for a bar counter. So you wouldn't use the split bar kit behind our bar height module unless you just wanted a level overhang. But for what we're doing today is a raised bar counter off of our standard height modules. Let's show how I build it. So here is the look at the welded split bar kit. You're getting 4 cantilevers. You're getting a catcher track on the bottom to catch them on the bottom there. You're getting a catcher track that's going to go across the top, and you're getting an angle iron for the backside, the backsplash side. So you can see that these welded cantilevers are super strong. They're real galvanized steel. They're about 1.5 inches in size, and it's a fast and easy way to do it. Now let's go ahead and screw it together. Start in the corner here on the bottom, and we'll go ahead and slip our cantilever into our catcher track. We get it nice and flush on the end. We use a hammer to kind of tap it to get it flush on the end and make sure it's all the way into the bottom of the track. So he holds it tight so that this is all the way in the bottom of the tube, and he uses a self-tapping screw. And there it is. Now we'll go ahead and continue our way across. We're using hex head screws. You could also think about getting the low profile pan head self-tapping screws, which would be smaller. They wouldn't stick out as far. That might be a little bit nicer for when you put your cement board here. So now look, he's already got the left and right one on, and he's gonna go do this 2 centers. But to do the center ones, he'll get his measuring tape and we'll mark it where it's supposed to go. Now we take our measuring tape and we're marking off 16 inches and 32 inches, which is the proper measurements on center here for our structural support. Okay, he's sliding that in right where our line is, and he'll lock it in with this 1 screw here. These self-tapping screws work great. Great, now we'll go ahead and take the next one, and we're gonna line it up right with that line. Just like that, that looks good, and he'll lock it in with 1 screw. Fast and easy. You can build a split bar counter in minutes here. This is so much faster and easier than track and studs, it's ridiculous. Now we'll go ahead and take our other catcher track here, and we're going to slip that over the top of these four. Work your way from the one end over to the other end. You can see how he just kind of works it in as it goes across, very easy. Make sure you wear gloves because these tracks do have sharp edges. You can get cut, so you might want to wear gloves and safety glasses. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to screw from the bottom, so that way we'll only have screws on the bottom here, and the top will be nice and flush. Great. And he just works his way across. Another screw, screw, screw. 4 screws there, and we got it. Nice and easy. Look at that. You can already see it's coming along, making a nice raised bar counter here out of real steel. No welding needed. Fast and easy. And then we get this one on the end. He has it nice and flush on the end. It doesn't stick out. Perfect. Great. There it is. Now we take it and we just flip it over like this, so it's down like that. And now we can easily take our angle iron and set it across here for the backsplash side. He'll go ahead and take that. Watch, he just sets it on there, so it's flush on each end. And you see how that nicely caps it off like this. And then we'll just lock it in with 4 screws. We start by clamping the raised split bar to the end here nice and flush. I like to put 1 clamp low and 1 clamp up here high to hold these together like this. So that way it'll be nice and sturdy for screwing it in. Included with your split bar kit is 4 of these connector plates, which allows you to tie this welded split bar to the back of your module. You're going to use 2 on each end, and you want to put them 1 high and 1 low, and you just screw it in there, and then you take it. I would like to put it like this, so it's not sticking out on the back side of the split bar where your cement board goes, and then I take a hammer and I knock it into the frame, or I just leave it flat to let the cement board cover it so it doesn't interfere with anything. So now that's easy on the ends because it's flush, but over here on the next one, you can see how your VT probably doesn't line up with the split bar so that you can connect it. So you're going to have to unscrew this VT, make it flush to this side, and then do the same thing, connect it with these connector plates. It doesn't matter if it's on this side or that side. The only important thing is that it's not sticking out like that. It's got to be flush or slightly recessed to the inside of your barbecue island. We just easily unscrew the screws from that vertical tube, the 2 on the bottom, the 2 on the top. If there's any in the way from the module, we'd unscrew those as well. So there's no screws. And then we'll go ahead and slide that over and get it nice and flush to your split bar counter kit. Easy. So he's got the VT unscrewed. You can also see there was 2 screws from connecting the module. So he'll also have to take one of these out or possibly both of them to get this flush to the tube. And then we just screw back through this into these pieces, which will hold it together. Easy. See here, now he's got it nice and flush here to the module. And he just puts the screws back in, and everything's fine here. Very easy. Okay, you can see we got our first connector plate in there. We got a screw on each side. Now we're going to go down the lower one and do the same thing here. And you can see it's just nice and tight here because it's clamped together. It's really nice to have these clamps. There it is. For safety, we go ahead and knock that in just like that. Remember, it's always best for safety not to let children or animals play around your frame when you leave it alone here and you're not working on it, or at any time rather. So if you're worried about children and pets, you might want to put a tarp over this or put it somewhere safe where no one's going to get hurt, because this does have sharp edges. Now let's go ahead and install our 2 connector plates on this side. So we recommend that you make the module VT flush to the inner side of your split bar counter. So when you put your two connector plates here, it'll be on the inside on the right. So that way when you bring your next split bar counter here, there won't be any screws making a small gap. It'll be nice and flush tight together. Okay, we gonna screw it in here. Just like that, 2 screws. So now it'll be nice and strong, but it'll be nice and flush on this side for the next split bar counter to come up. You just do one at a time, you work your way across. Now, if you had 6 feet here, we also offer a 2-foot section. But if you had 7 feet, you would have to trim these parts down before you had assembled it together for a custom length. You would probably use a chop saw or a hacksaw to chop it down shorter for a custom length. But 2 of these 4-footers work perfectly on the back of an 8-foot module. You can see he used a hammer and he went ahead and knocked those in like that. Very professional. Okay, now let's get started on the next one. We just repeat the same system. We're going to assemble the second one on the ground, and then we'll go ahead and put it into place. So you can see the hex head screws that we use for framing. They're so easy to screw with. They really stick out kind of far here. So we have an alternative for that. You can pick it up at your local hardware store. They're these flat, large pan head screws. And look at the difference, how low profile that is in comparison. It barely sticks up from the frame compared to the hex heads. So I really recommend that you get these pan head screws for this split bar section. It'll be much nicer. And you can use 4 there and even use 4 down there so it interferes with your cement board less. But other than that, this is just amazing. It's really nice. And on the inside of the backsplash, there is no screw, so that'll go nice and flush here, nice and straight. Okay, so we got our second one assembled the same way we did the first one. We'll go ahead and put it in position here, and we make sure that we push it all the way up against it, just like that, and see how nice and flush it is. Perfect. We'll clamp it in and screw it together with the connector plates. This end, of course, is nice and flush, but we're gonna have to check the vertical tube on the other side here. So again, the vertical tube, let's see. Oh, it's nice and flush. It's close enough, so we'll put 1 low here and 1 low there, and we got it. So you can see that we're not going to use the connector plates on this end. We're going to use it on this one here because it's nice and flush to that VT. So that'll work just as good. It'll be nice and strong. 1 clamp holding them together here and 1 up high. We go ahead and screw it in, the connector plate, and we'll screw in 1 low. And then we'll hit it with the hammer. Nice and easy. And then we'll finish off that one and we're done. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and screw that one on the inner tube here. Great. So there's the 1 high and then 1 low. Now, let me put my money where my mouth is and show how strong this is with my whole 180 pounds by getting up here like a gymnast. I've got my friend here, he's standing on the frame because we don't have the cement board and a lot of weight, so I don't want to flip back. But let me show you how strong this split bar is because it's welded. Look at that, 180 pounds, it's very, very strong. So this is much stronger than a stud and track one, and you can feel safe with this. So this is the best way to build a raised bar counter, absolutely 100%. The only other way would be as if you build a concrete block island and you do a concrete pour in place overhang, which would also be super strong. But let's face it, this steel frame is so much easier, so much DIY friendly. It's very inexpensive and easy for homeowners. Go with the BBQ Coach split bar counter kits if you want a nice raised bar counter. And don't forget a quick tip. Allow 2 feet of space for each bar stool. So each of your guests would have 2 feet. So this 8-foot span, you could have 4 bar stools here, and your adult guests will be very comfortable, and it will work very nicely. Thank you very much. I hope that you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that way I can keep doing nice videos like this. Have a great outdoor kitchen build.